My name is Belen Veta, and I work as an access specialist here in the SSD office. And so I'm one of our counselors here, and today we're going to be presenting to you our virtual transfer orientation day. This is to give students, counselors at the community college level information on transferring to Fresno State. Right. First off, welcome and congratulations on becoming a Fresno State Bulldog. We're excited to have you and your choice to attend Fresno State. And I would also like to start off with our land acknowledgement. So the Fresno State campus sits in the midst of the San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich in the traditions and representation of Native American peoples and cultures. So we are grateful to be in the traditional homelands of the Yokuts and Mono peoples, whose diverse tribal communities share stewardship over this land. So our itinerary we're going to go through some staff introductions, our presentation. There's going to be a chance for Q&A all throughout the morning. And then you can utilize your Q&A button for that. And then we'll go over some participation at the end. Right, so first and foremost, like I said, is our introduction. So we're going to go through and introduce our staff. Unfortunately, not all of our staff could be here with us today. So we have some slides about our staff members. So first up is Jenny Johnson. She is our director. Her picture is off to the right of the slide. She's long brown hair wearing a white shirt. Her pronouns are she, her, and hers. A fun fact about Jenny is that she is an avid Chicago Cubs fan. And for the last 14 years, she has made it a tradition to have her kids dress up in Cubs gear on opening day. And one word to describe herself was understanding. Next up is Rodrigo Gomez. He is another one of our access specialists. His picture is off to the right of the slide, and he is wearing an LA Dodgers ball cap and an LA Dodgers blue jersey. His pronouns are he, him, his, and él. Fun fact about Rodrigo is he is a Dodgers fan. And one word to describe himself is family. Right, and there's my slide. So again, Belen Veta, I'm an access specialist. My picture is off to the right of the slide. I have long brown hair, I'm wearing glasses and a pink top. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and Aya. My fun fact is I was a music minor when I was at Fresno State. And one word to describe myself would be introvert. And then we have Stephanie Foster. She's another one of our access specialists. Her picture is off to the right of the slide. She is with our live mascot, Victor E. Bulldog, and she is wearing a red sweater and a blue Bulldogs t-shirt with some jeans. She has on glasses and then long red hair. Her pronouns are she, her, and hers. A fun fact about Stephanie is that she used to play harmonica in a rock and roll band. And one word to describe herself is ambivert. Right, next up is Anna Morales. She is our testing accommodations specialist. So her picture is off to the right of the slide. It looks like she's sitting on snow on a snowy mountain, and she has on some winter gear. She has on a red cap, a red beanie with long brown hair, and then a white jacket and black pants. Her pronouns are she, her, and hers. A fun fact about Anna is that she takes care of about 89 plants, and she likes to go out in nature. And then one word she used to describe herself was friendly. Next up is Rima Maldonado. She's our alternative formats coordinator. Her picture is off to the right of the slide. She is with our live mascot, Victor E. Bulldog. She's also wearing Fresno State gear. So she's got on a blue and red sweater. She's holding a blue coffee mug that says Fresno State. She's got on black jeans. She has long black hair and glasses. Her pronouns are she, her, and hers. And a fun fact about Rima is she loves to cook. And then one word to describe herself is understanding. And we have our interim assistive technology coordinator, Melissa Villabindo. Her picture is off to the right of the slide as well. She has long brown hair. She's got on a white blouse with a red sweater over it. Her pronouns are she, her, and hers. A fun fact about Melissa is that she has 2 cats. And then one word she would use to describe herself is loyal. And then we have Diana Clayton, our lead interpreter and communications director. Her picture is off to the right of the slide, and she has long brown hair. She's got on a blue blouse, and then in the background, it looks like some grass. And then her pronouns are she, her, and hers. A fun fact about Diana is that she loves musical theater. And then one word to describe herself is committed. Right, on to our TRIO staff. So the director of our TRIO-SSSD program is Luis Flores. His picture is off to the right of the slide. It looks like he has on a gray hat, some sunglasses, a denim top with a white shirt underneath. And then his pronouns are him, he, him, and él. A fun fact is that he has gotten 7 of his tattoos while visiting other countries. And then one word to describe himself is adventurous. All right, next up is Alondra Martinez. She is our TRIO-SSSD learning specialist. Her picture is off to the right of the slide. She has black and blue hair with a black jacket and a dress. And then she is holding an award. I believe that award was when she won Staff of the Year. And so her pronouns are she, her, and hers. A fun fact is that she is a fitness enthusiast. And then one word she would use to describe herself is passionate. All right, then we have Priscilla Gilletteberg. She is our TRIO administrative assistant. Her picture is off to the right of the slide. She has long brown hair. Looks like she's wearing gold earrings and then a white blouse. Her pronouns are she, her, and ella. A fun fact about Priscilla is that she enjoys making polymer clay earrings. And one word to describe herself would be ambitious. Okay, and we have Lorena Mejia. She is a mentoring and peer support specialist. Her picture is off to the right of the slide. Looks like she's sitting on a bench. She has long black hair. She's got a white blouse and some black jeans on. And then her pronouns are she, her, and hers. A fun fact is that she's traveled to more states in Mexico than she has in the United States. And one word to describe herself would be kind. And then we have Paige Olson. She is one of the peer academic coaches for TRIO. Her picture is off to the right of the slide. She is wearing some black heart-shaped sunglasses, a pink blazer with a white shirt underneath. And then in the background, it looks like there's a fence and some very large cactus. Her pronouns are she, her, and hers. And a fun fact about Paige is that she is an ice cream addict. And then one word to describe herself would be enthusiastic. All right. So that's our introductions for our staff. I know we have a lot of them, but they all wanted to be here today, and only unfortunately a few of them are with us. So, we're going to go through and start our presentation on transferring your services from your community college over to Fresno State.
Okay, so hi there, this is Stephanie Foster. I'm one of the access specialists here with SSD. And so I thought it was important to go over some of the key differences and also some similarities you're going to see from your community college coming here to Fresno State. So one of the main differences that you probably already noticed is that we have different names. And so at your community college, it was likely referred to as Disabled Students Programs and Services, or DSP&S, or an Access and Ability Center. However, here at Fresno State, we are referred to as the Services for Students with Disabilities Office, or often referred to as SSD. Another core difference is the title of our staff. At the community college level, you likely met with what was called a counselor or a counselor coordinator. Here at Fresno State, we are referred to as access and ability specialists or accommodation specialists. And that's because of a key main difference in the roles that we play here at Fresno State. So when it comes to the roles at your community college, your counselor was a person that you went to for academic advising as well as accommodations. However, here at Fresno State, when you meet with our access specialists, you will focus on only your accommodations and disability management advising. In order to get your academic advising here at Fresno State, you will meet with a separate academic counselor, either through our University Advising Center, which is used for general advising. And also each college has their own advising center in order to guide students through their direct majors. And so this is an important difference between the community college level and here at Fresno State. So I'm just going to reemphasize that here at SSD, you will meet with your counselors regarding your academic accommodations and disability management advising. Anything regarding your courses or your academic plan, your academic roadmap, will be through your academic advisor, either through the advising center or through your specific college. So some similarities are that when you meet with your counselor here at SSD, we will be able to provide you with accommodations and accessibility based on each of your individual needs. And we will be working with you to help you reach your goals while you're here at Fresno State. So Fresno State does offer virtual services. Here in the SSD office, we are committed to serving you virtually. So we do have appointments where you can meet with us either via Zoom or over phone meetings during regular business hours. We also offer virtual walk-in hours 1 day per week where you can come in to meet with staff virtually. We also will provide for any of you who are taking online courses. There are testing accommodations available to you virtually for those courses, such as extended time and access to technology, such as a screen reader. You also would have note-taking accommodations available for any live synchronous classes that you may be enrolled in. Okay, so really quickly, just because we have a lot of information today, so we thought that it would be nice just to take a little bit of a break every now and again. We're gonna put up a little quiz or poll for you guys. Now it's just for fun, so no need to take it too seriously. But we have just some fun facts here about some alumni from Fresno State and some interesting things that they have done. And so if you'll see the poll pop up on your screen, the first question here is for you to take a guess on which Disney and Pixar movie did a Fresno State alumni help produce? The first option is Snow White. The second option is Ratatouille. The third option is Cars. And the fourth option is Mulan. So you can go ahead and just take a guess and put in which Fresno State alumni helped produce, or which movie you believe a Fresno State alumni helped produce. Once you guys submit your answers, we'll go ahead and take a look at what you all thought.
We'll give a few more seconds. See if we can get everyone to participate here. Great. Last guesses.
Oh, interesting. No one guessed Mulan. Well, let's see. A couple of you were correct. We had our Fresno State alumni help produce the movie Ratatouille.
All right, Stephanie, did you want the other questions shared or do you want to go forward?
That's up to you, whatever you guys want to do.
Do one more brain break here.
Okay, we'll do one more little fun fact. Okay, this question says Fresno State alumni James Cardock is responsible for co-creating what? So the options here, the first option says a big screen TV. Your second option says a video recorder. Your third option is Bluetooth technology. Your fourth option is microprocessor. So what invention would Fresno State alumni assist with co-creating?
Have a few more seconds for participation here if you want to get your answers.
What do you guys think? Oh, a couple of you got this one right as well. So our Fresno State alumni was a co-creator of Bluetooth technology. So pretty cool.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Rodrigo Gomez. I will be going over the next couple of slides that will basically provide you with information on how to set up services with our office. And so as we were talking earlier about some of the differences that our office has compared to some of the community colleges. Hopefully this next couple of slides will give you a pretty good idea of the process that we have here in our office. For those of you who are at the community colleges and use a program called AIM, that is the portal that we use to facilitate the accommodations here at Fresno State. And so you will complete an online application. And while you're completing that online application, you also have the ability to submit your disability verification, or you could also submit the disability verification to your access specialist during the intake interview. So then after that, like I said, you would complete the intake interview with your access specialist in determining or basically once you are completing your intake appointment, you may also be required to meet with additional SSD staff depending on the accommodations that will be set up. You will complete a request for faculty notifications every semester once you have been approved for accommodations through your portal. And then you can also bring any questions or comments or concerns to the attention of an SSD staff, and the SSD staff will set you up an appointment accordingly to the SSD staff assigned for that particular service. So the online application is available through our website. You will need to complete the application in one sitting. So it's important that you have all the information that you'll need in order to complete the application, because it will time out if you do not complete it in that particular instance. Once you complete the application, someone from our staff will contact you via email to schedule your intake appointment with one of our access specialists. At this point, we normally recommend that you reach out if our SSD staff has not contacted you after an application has been submitted, once you complete your dog days orientation. And we want to assure that you have completed your dog days orientation, so then we can attach the accommodations that you will be approved for once you register for classes, and you would register for classes at your dog days orientation. It is very important that you check your Fresno State email frequently. The majority of the communication that you will receive will be through your Fresno State email. Verification, how, the documentation that you will submit can be in a variety of different forms. And so it's necessary that we establish accommodations, and in order to establish accommodations, there will be important documentation that will need to be submitted. We will accept accommodations through medical records, psychoeducational testing. If you had an IEP or 504 in your K through 12 experience, and you can also submit the documentation that you had at the community college. And the disability, we have a disability verification form also through our website, so for appropriate medical professionals to complete and submit on your behalf. One of the things that we always stress is to make sure that you have copies of your documentation. And so it gives you the best way to share your verification with us. And keeping a copy and attaching it to the application is probably the best way that you can assure that you have that documentation in place. Consent forms, those are very important. You can have a consent form completed with your community college, and that will allow your community college personnel to send your documentation over to our office. Depending on that consent form, your community college representative can email that documentation over to us, and also the verification directly to our office as well. If you have any questions, either please submit them through the Q&A feature down below the screen.
And we go over, this is Belen. We know we go over the information fairly quickly. And so please make sure that you let us know if you have questions. The Q&A feature is at the bottom of the Zoom screen. So definitely please let us know. Let's see, we had one come through. The question is there any help that we give for registration? That's a great question. So as we kind of mentioned, we do assist with the accommodations, and then we help students to find their academic advisor on campus who's going to help them with what classes that you'll take as far as your roadmap to graduation. But there are times when your access specialist can assist you with the actual process of registration if you have questions about it. But for the most part, you're going to work on your classes with your academic advisor. Okay, we have another question. How will we know that the accommodations have been put in place? That's a great question. Rodrigo, would you like to answer that?
Sure. Once you have your intake appointment, your access specialist will go over the process of what you would be eligible for in terms of accommodations. So when you leave the actual appointment with your access specialist, you will know the accommodations that you have been approved. In addition, after your intake appointment, you will receive an email confirmation of the appointment and a little bit of a synopsis or overview of the actual meeting with instructions on how to log in to your portal. And then on your portal, once you log in, you would be able to check your eligibility tab. And on the eligibility tab, we'll have the list of all the accommodations that you were approved for during the meeting that you had with your access specialist. I hope that answered that question.
We have another question. Let's see. The question is, do you let the teachers that we have know that we have accommodations, or are we supposed to reach out to them? That's a great question as well. So kind of what Rodrigo was stating about meeting with the access specialist and using the My SSD student portal or the AIM portal, you're going to request your faculty notification accommodations each semester. This is then going to send out an email from our office to your faculty that will notify the faculty members of your registered and eligible accommodations for that semester. So you have to make the request, and then our office sends out the email to the faculty members. Good questions. Some of these questions will also go over in our presentation, and so I don't see any other ones right now. So I'm going to save the next questions for our next Q&A or check-in, and we'll continue on with our presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lorena Mejia, and I'm the Mentoring and Peer Support Program Specialist for TRIO Student Support Services Disabilities. I am going to go over accommodations, and then we're going to go into a little brain break. So intake appointment, attendance at an intake appointment with an access specialist is encouraged. This is the time you will engage in a conversation with your access specialist to discuss your accommodations at Fresno State. Services and accommodations. So services are based on a student's disability and functional limitation within the academic setting. There are a wide variety of services for students with disabilities on campus. Accommodations are reviewed with your access specialist. Accommodations at Fresno State may vary from what you received at your community college, depending on the availability of programs offered and technology offered, etc. So some potential services and/or accommodations. So we have alternate formats, alternate testing services, assistive computer lab, assistive technology, classroom services such as note-taking and accessible furniture. We also have communication access, which includes sign language interpretation and real-time captioning. And then we have mobility services, and then TRIO Student Support Services Disabilities for additional help when it comes to tutoring and advising. And then we also have the Mentoring and Peer Support Program, also known as MAPS. Meetings with a SSD staff. After your initial intake appointment with your access specialist, they may schedule your appointments with one or more of our accommodation specialists. These appointments are for an extended review of services offered at Fresno State and to explain how the specific accommodation process works in the SSD office.
Right. So we are going to go into our faculty notification process. So we were talking a little bit about this when we got a question in the Q&A about it. But the requests for the faculty notification letters that get sent out each semester should be completed through your My SSD student portal. The requests would need to be submitted each semester, and ideally they would be submitted before the semester starts. However, they can realistically be submitted at any point during the semester. The sooner you request and have those notifications sent out to your faculty, the sooner they are aware of your accommodations and the sooner they start in the classroom. Once you make the request in your My SSD student portal, within 48 business hours, your faculty notification letters will be emailed to your professors. So we do have videos. I will go through this video, a little bit of it, to show you the process and what the AIM portal looks like for requesting accommodations. And just know that these videos are available for students to view at any time. We can get you those links, and the links are available on our website. Let's see if I can get this to work here. I see Garrett saying that there's no sound. Okay. Well, maybe we won't play. I was wondering if the sound was going to play or not, but we're just going to skip this. This link to the YouTube video is actually sent out or was sent out yesterday with the outline of the presentation. Apologies for that technology. Thank you for rolling with the punches. So any other questions? Again, we have the Q&A feature open and ready to go for questions and check-in. Yes, thank you so much, Caitlin. Yes, there wasn't any sound. And so I'm going to get that link. Well, the link was sent out yesterday, and we'll get that sent out again. That way you can review the video on your own time. Let's see. Another question, do you have to be registered for classes before meeting with an access specialist? That's a good question. I will say that typically we schedule new students to Fresno State after their dog days orientation. And the reason for this is so that they are already registered for their classes before they meet with us. But there can be times where we do informational meetings, or we meet with students prior to their registration date. If there's any special circumstances or questions about registration that may not be your typical average registration questions, then we can schedule meetings with an access specialist before. But I will say a majority of our students will meet with the access specialist after dog days. And you may have already noticed that if you have scheduled or submitted your application already, our SSD staff has probably scheduled you for an appointment in July, and that's most likely going to be after your dog days. And that is pretty typical. Any other questions? Right, I'm not seeing any questions right now, but please, the Q&A feature is open, so feel free to submit your questions throughout our presentation. We're gonna keep going here.
Okay, so my name is Alondra. I'm the learning specialist for the TRIO-SSS Disabilities program. So the TRIO program within our office is federally funded. It is one of 3 programs on campus that are SSS, Student Support Services. Our program specifically serves 110 students each academic year. All of our students in this program do have a documented disability, so you will have to have set up services with SSD in order to apply and be a participant of our program. We do have 2 full-time staff, which serve as advisors. Currently, we only have 1 academic coach, but there's room for us to have 2 academic coaches, a peer mentor, specialist or coordinator, which is Lorena, and 1 administrative staff, Priscilla. And then our goal in our program is to improve retention rate of students from underrepresented populations and support them in the completion of their degrees. So help them with retention, and we do advising, counseling, and student engagement within our program. We do have some fun photos for all of you to see that kind of goes over a little bit of what we do. This one right here titled Cultural Events. So on the left-hand side, you can see some of our staff helping with the Mexican Independence Day celebration and Day of the Dead with the aguas frescas. In the middle, we have one of our colleagues from different universities holding a piñata. And on the right, we do have a lot of SSD staff dressed up for our Day of the Dead celebration that was held on campus. More cultural events that we attend or that we have fun with within our program is Halloween, career and academic fairs. So we have on the left some of our SSD staff dressed as luchadores. And then in the middle, we have some of our staff also out there tabling during a tabling event for a career and cultural fair. And then on the right-hand side, we have our SSD staff dressed up for Halloween. And then we have graduation, which for our program, we do graduation photos for our students. Right here, you'll see on the left and in the middle, some of our students. On the right is myself, just example of photos. And then we do have graduation celebration and recognition for our students who are graduating out of our program. And we also do assist with graduate applications and letters of recommendation to graduate school. And these are just pictures of us, our students, wearing our graduation regalia. And then campus activities that students can be involved in as well as professional development and social and networking events. So on the left, we do have Priscilla, our admin assistant, during one of our open house events with Victor E. Bulldog. In the middle, we have our SSD staff and one of them holding an award with Victor E. Bulldog again. And on the right, we have our director who won a raffle at one of these events.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Lorena, the mentoring program coordinator. So a little bit about MAPS, which stands for Mentoring and Peer Support. MAPS is a mentorship program within TRIO, and students that are enrolled with TRIO or SSD can be a mentee in our program, and you are paired with a volunteer mentor, and we host socials every month where you can engage with other mentees and mentors. The first picture on the left is a picture of past mentors and mentees. The 2 pictures in the middle are a social that we just had recently where we took our program bowling and mentors and mentees got to bowl and engage with each other. And then a picture on the right is TRIO staff at a tabling event. Okay, so how do you apply to the TRIO program. So priority goes to those who are first generation and low income. You also have to have a documented disability and be receiving services with SSD. You have to be enrolled in 12 units, or priority goes to students that are enrolled in 12 units, which is full-time. And you have to be of a good academic standing, so you must have a minimum of a 2.0 GPA, and you have to show need for academic support and must be a US citizen or permanent resident.
And to add to that, I do want to reiterate that at the beginning, I stated that we have room for 110 students in our program. So in the case that we are at full capacity, you will be put on the wait list. Once you meet with your SSD counselor, if this is a program that you're interested in, you can let them know so they can help you get access to our application.
Lorena or Alondra, can one of you please talk about the tutoring opportunities if a student is registered with TRIO-SSSD?
Yes. So thank you for that, Belen. And this is Alondra. For tutoring, we do have a peer academic coach with us that will help students with tutoring in a sense where she can go over and help you understand assignments in the case that you may not fully understand what the professor is asking for. And we also do have a referral process where we work with the Learning Center in doing one-to-one referrals. So if you cannot do group tutoring or just don't have access to the tutoring that they're currently offering, we do a referral for you to get one-on-one tutoring, and we do help pay for that. However, it is not guaranteed. It just really depends on tutor availability.
Thank you. One of the questions in the Q&A while TRIO was presenting was about tutoring and if the tutoring is drop-in. So SSD, the program ourselves, does not offer tutoring specifically for SSD students. We refer students downstairs in the library to our Learning Center and Support Net programs. The Learning Center is our tutoring on campus. They currently offer in-person and online, both group tutoring and individual tutoring, as well as scheduled sessions and drop-in sessions. And so their resource website will also be available or is available on the outline that you received yesterday.
Yes, and then thank you. And for TRIO with the peer academic coach, in order to get tutoring, it is appointment based, and you do have to be a student within our program.
And Alondra, it looks like we have another Q&A. The question is, do you offer grant aid through the SSSD program?
Okay, looks like we have TRIO experience here. Yes, we do have access to grant aid. However, there are some qualifications. And so if you are a student with us, meet the qualifications as deemed by the Financial Aid Office, then you may be eligible for grant aid. So it's not a hard yes as to everyone will get grant aid. It really depends on the qualifications and if financial aid deems you eligible.
Thank you, Alondra. Any other questions that we have? Go ahead and submit those through the Q&A button on the bottom of the screen. Give it a minute. But thank you to Lorena and Alondra for presenting on our TRIO program. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions at this moment, but if you have questions, please go ahead and type those in the Q&A box and we will answer them when we come to our next questions and check-in. All right, let's keep going here with our presentation.
Good morning again, everyone. My name is Rodrigo. I participated earlier, but just want to go over some campus resources. We just talked about the SSD TRIO program here on campus that's affiliated with our office. As Alondra mentioned, we do have an additional 2 TRIO programs here on campus, one specifically for veterans, and then the other one for students in general that may qualify for their services. And on top of that, there's a wide array of other resources here on campus that you can take advantage of. And so I'm not going to go over the entire list, but as you can see at the very bottom, it says there's much more. But just to single out some that I think are really important for everyone coming into Fresno State is the Student Health and Counseling Center. That is open to any student here on campus, and they have a variety of health-related and counseling services available to our students. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of their services. The Learning Center and Support Net, Belen kind of went over that, and it's our tutoring center down in the, I guess, the bottom floor of the library. And that's where we would normally refer students for tutoring services. And so it's really important that you take advantage of services like the Learning Center and Support Net to help you with the variety of challenges that you may have with your coursework. The Writing Center is another great resource if you're going to need support with the writing assignments that you may have in your courses. And it's just an extension of the tutoring Learning Center Support Net that may be available to you, but specifically for your writing assignments. We talked about earlier about the different advising centers. The University Advising Center is available to students. The UAC or UAC is specific to students who have yet to pick their major. So it's for students who are trying to figure out what they're going to be majoring in. And then the different advising centers at the various colleges will help you in your academic advising for those specific subject areas or your specific major. Lastly, I want to cover the Career Development Center, because again, I think the Career Development Center is such a huge resource here on campus. If you're looking for internships, or if you're, as I mentioned earlier, you're thinking about changing your major and you're not 100% sure what you want to major in, you can go to the Career Development Center and take an assessment that will hopefully help you identify what you may be interested in and possibly pursue as a career goal. And like I said, there's so many services here on campus, and the more resources that you take advantage of as a student here on campus will, I guarantee you, lead to academic success and hopefully finish your degree here on campus as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. And then at the bottom of our presentation, last but not least, we have an SSD staff summary. So just we list out our SSD and TRIO-SSSD staff one by one on a slide because we went over them in the beginning of the presentation, and we just feel that they're important. It's important to know their names, so we listed them again. And then we have our TRIO-SSD staff names again. And then we're at a point where we've come to the end of our presentation as far as what information we have to give to you. And so at this time, we're able to accept any questions through the Q&A. We can also, I believe there's a function where you can raise your hand and I can allow you to speak, and you can ask your question if that's a preferred method for you. We have a question. It says, do you offer learning disability assessment? Rodrigo, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Would you care to answer this question?
Actually, yes, that's a great question. a lot of institutions of higher ed, especially the community colleges or other four-year institutions, have a learning disability specialist or a learning disability personnel that can do learning disabilities assessment on campus. Unfortunately, Fresno State does not. That is not something that at this point our office has the ability to do. And so at this point, we do not have the ability to provide that particular service. If you're in need of that particular service, then we could have an informational meeting to kind of discuss what your options may be in terms of looking for that assessment outside of the university, whether it be with your primary care that can refer out, or maybe through other agencies that will be available to help you out.
Thank you, Rodrigo. The next question is, how do you request an ASL interpreter? That is a great question. So we utilize, well, there's a couple of different ways, I guess I should say. So if you are in need of an ASL interpreter in your class, you will discuss that with your access specialist, and then you will actually meet with our lead interpreter and communications coordinator, Diana, and she will get your schedule so that you can work out to have an ASL interpreter in your classes with you. If you are in need of an ASL interpreter for an event or an advisor meeting, counselor meeting, etc., then we can go ahead and have you submit a separate custom request form through the My SSD student portal so that we can get you an ASL interpreter for those special meetings that are outside of your classrooms. Good questions. We have another question. Let's see. Okay, so this question is asking about vaccines. I'm going to go ahead and take a stab that this is the COVID vaccine you're asking for. And if the students have not received the COVID vaccine, are they allowed to go to campus if they have a meeting or wanting to explore the campus better? At this time, I do know that Fresno State is requiring vaccination status for all students, faculty, and staff. However, if you have an exemption, a medical or religious exemption, that is something that you would submit through the Student Health and Counseling Center and through your Fresno State portal. If I believe there is a recommendation to still wear a mask if you do not have your vaccine or your vaccinations, excuse me. And then weekly testing would be required to make sure that you are testing negative for COVID. So I hope that that answers your question a little bit better. I know Fresno State was being pretty strict on making sure that everyone who is on campus has the vaccines and the boosters as well. And so that's definitely something that we can get you some more information separately if you would like to email us directly. Good questions. Other questions?
Ellen, if I can just add to that real quick.
Yeah, please, Rodrigo.
When you go on to the general Fresno State website, at the very top indicator on the page, there is a COVID-19 update page that you can click on, and it will provide you with all the information that you will need to have as it relates to coming to campus, and then some of the additional information that Belen talked about. So there are weekly tests, and they provide that information on that page. And then it also provides you with information as to how to go about reporting your specific situation regarding your vaccination status.
Awesome, thank you. Other questions for about our presentation, about SSD, accommodations, your intake appointments. A couple minutes, but and then I'm also going to switch my screen here. So give you a couple more minutes to ask questions in the Q&A box, but also just to let you know, we always are happy to answer questions. We take comments or concerns. So when you have questions, please ask. Our contact information is on the slide right now. Our phone number is 559-278-2811. And then our general SSD email is going to be ssdstaff@csufresno.edu. We can be contacted via phone, email, and when we have our Zoom meetings as well. But we love to answer questions for students. As well as I know there are some community college counselors on this call. Counselors, we are available for your questions as well, of course. Let's see, we do have a question pop up. Can you bring a parent or friend to join the access specialist appointments? Yes, you can. So we will typically, if you have someone with you to join the meeting, whether it's the Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting, we will need to ask for your permission for that person to be there, as there are FERPA laws that apply to you, and we would not be able to begin the meeting without your permission. But as long as you are giving permission to us, you can definitely bring a parent or another person who's familiar with your academic status to join the access specialist meetings. Good questions. Well, we just want to thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate all of your participation and questions that you've asked. We sent out an outline of the presentation yesterday, but we'll go ahead and send out another one today. That outline does have the requesting accommodations video link, and it also has the websites for all of the resources that Rodrigo went over. So it has all of those websites so you can view some of those campus resources and get their information and get a little bit more familiar with them before you start attending in the fall. Let's see. We want to go ahead and thank you again for participating and joining us this morning. If you have any questions, I'll go ahead and hang out on here for a couple more minutes to take any more Q&A questions. But other than that, that concludes our presentation, and we thank you for joining us.